What's up? Oh, look who it is. Another recurring character. Very nice. Good job, guys. Today is match day. The fear in your eyes. Yesterday we got paid $1,942. This is nice. These are the biggest problems in my life, then my life isn't that bad. Welcome back, vlog. It's ICU week 2, baby. Let's have a good week. Hey, Chewy. Say hi, Chip. Welcome back to the vlog. Oh, whoa, whoa. Come on, Chip. It's not playtime. We have to go to work. Nice, buddy. You have to go. All right, guys, happy Monday. Today is actually not just any Monday. Today is actually a very big day for medical students all around the country, and that's because today is match day. In about 20 minutes, tens of thousands of medical students are going to find out if they matched into their desired specialties or not. And then this Friday, they are going to find out where they matched to. Huge congrats to all the medical students that matched this week. And if you did not match this week, just know that thousands and thousands of people have been in your position before, and it will work out one way or another. This vlog will be going up this Sunday after match week is done, so make sure you guys congratulate any medical students in the comment section. I can't believe that it has been a year since my match day and my match week, and I feel like it was literally just yesterday. Like, the time has just flown by so fast, and now I am almost done with my first year of residency. Anyway, like I said earlier, it's week 2 in the ICU. I wore my green jacket today for St. Patrick's Day. Let's have a good day. It's so beautiful out right now. It's such a shame to have to spend it cooped up in the hospital all day. Like, look at that sunrise. Absolutely majestic. I'm gonna be stuck inside all day. Well, this is the life I chose. A little burnt. Yep. We have a dartboard in the resident lounge, and you can tell how good we are by the amount of holes in the wall. Oh, that was really good. Like, less oxygen throughout the day.
Yeah, right.
Went to the GME, got some snackies, back to the ICU. All right, guys, I am done for the day. We just got done signing out to the night team. Not a bad Monday, got a few admissions. Pretty interesting cases, but nothing that should stay in the ICU for too long, luckily. Anyway, today would normally be my rest day because Saturday I actually did a 16-mile long run, which is my longest run so far. My legs are actually pretty tired, but then yesterday I went tricking and tumbling, and I was throwing things like quad fulls, triple backs, double corks, just a bunch of stuff. Like, I think that the soreness from the 16-mile run didn't kick in yet, so I just went ham yesterday, you know, with the tumbling and tricking. And now today, I am super sore. My legs have been like killing me all day. Every time I like stand up, I can feel it. But I ate way too many cookies and snacks throughout my shift today. So instead of having a rest day, we are busting out the running shoes, and we are gonna do just a little 5-kilometer, 3-mile run just to feel better about myself, even though it's supposed to be a day off. Let's get it. This is weird, but I watch vlogs of people running their first marathons, like while I'm running on the treadmill, to like stay motivated for my first marathon. The vlogger has now started watching vlogs. All right, let's finish this run. All right, so just finished my run. It's crazy to think that when I started this whole running journey thing, I could only run like half a mile without getting super out of breath and having to take a break. And now I'm running like 3 miles as my like joke around rest day. Like, that's just so nuts. Sometimes it's hard to appreciate progress until you have certain moments that you like realize, like, you know, you have come a long way. And it's important to remember that everyone has to start somewhere. You're always gonna start at the entry level for whatever new skill that you pick up. But in no time, you're gonna realize that you've really come such a far way. All right, let's go home. All right, so I walked outside and it's freaking raining. Look at that. And guess who washed their car yesterday? I swear this happened last week as well. Oh well, if these are the biggest problems in my life, then my life isn't that bad. All right, let's go home. Hey, papas. Missed you. All right, guys, I want to take a second to tell you about the sponsor of this week's vlog, David. You guys heard me talk about David in last week's vlog, and I'm still absolutely loving these protein bars. These days in the ICU can be chaotic, so it's often hard to get enough food in during the day, so I'm often relying on snacks, and David is absolutely perfect for that. This gives me a snack that is both good for me and filling. It's not just another protein bar, it's built on science-backed nutrition to give you the most amount of protein for the least amount of calories. Each of these bars have a massive 28 grams of protein for only 150 calories. This makes it the highest protein to calorie ratio on the market. Their CFP is literally 50% higher than any other brand. Getting more protein for less calories is good advice. You don't have to be a doctor to say that. Whether you're trying to build muscle, lose fat, or just maintain your nutrition, get a snack in, these are absolutely perfect. I literally just throw a few of these in my backpack for these long shifts, and they're such a lifesaver. I absolutely love the soft, doughy texture with the crunchy little chips in it. And again, they have 0 grams of added sugar, so you don't get that crash after you eat the bar. They got a bunch of flavors, but I keep leaning towards the peanut butter chocolate as well as the chocolate chip cookie dough. These are both solid options if you don't know which one to start with. And as you guys know, I'm training for a marathon, so I am constantly thinking about what I'm eating during the day right now. And so these are absolutely perfect for both a busy resident on a hectic rotation, but as well as someone who is literally training. So make sure to check out David. They've got real science, insane macros, no gimmicks, just good amounts of protein for the least amount of calories. Go to davidprotein.com to check them out, or you guys can click the link in my description, or you can scan the QR code here on the screen. And right now you guys can actually get a free carton if you order 4 or more, so it's a perfect time to check them out. Stock up while you can. Thank you so much again to David for once again sponsoring this week's vlog. Good morning. Good morning. It's Tuesday. It's day 2 out of 5. Let's go to work. Hi, Pikachu. Hi, Mr. Chipotle.
I got into bed like maybe half an hour later, and I was like, my heart was still going a little bit.
Yeah.
What's up?
All right, we are done for the day. Pretty uneventful, really. Nothing too interesting happened today, which is always nice in the ICU. So now I'm gonna go home and go for an outdoor run. Good morning. Happy Wednesday. We're almost halfway through the week. All right, guys, another day, another dollar. I mean that figuratively and probably a little literally. Resident paychecks are historically pretty terrible for the amount of hours. Anyway, like I said, it's Wednesday. It hasn't been a terrible week, kind of just trudging along. Someone asked me on last week's video, what is so difficult about ICU? And I guess I don't necessarily always explain why ICU is so difficult. I kind of just assume everyone understands why. But I mean, you're basically spending all day, dealing with the most critical and, quote unquote, unstable patients in the entire hospital, right? Either they are in the ICU because they need to be stabilized, or they're in the ICU because they are stabilized. However, they are being stabilized with things that need to be weaned off, like medications that support your blood pressure, modalities that support your heart, ventilators to help you breathe. Because of that, you're essentially spending the entire day just constantly tweaking things, with your patients. It's not like you're just going and checking on them like once a day. You're constantly doing things because, again, these are the most critical patients in the entire hospital. You really have to have a high attention to detail on them. You're also doing things like procedures throughout the day. So in that regard, it's very physically and mentally taxing. Not to mention the emotional tax that really just comes with being around very ill patients and, their families who are also either mourning, grieving, or, having just a hard time kind of watching their loved ones go through it. It's tough, I'm not gonna lie, and it's definitely not for everyone, but I definitely believe that if you can handle the ICU, then you can probably handle most things in healthcare. Anyway, that was the short and sweet of it. I need to go inside the hospital to meet the night team for sign out, so I will catch you guys later. Another day in the books. All right, so today was actually a pretty good day. Nothing terrible. Our patients were pretty stable. We got to do a couple procedures. Like, we had one patient that needed to have a vas cath placed. So vas caths are basically like central lines. They go into the internal jugular vein through the neck, and you typically put central lines in, you know, if you need to get medications like pretty much directly to the heart. And a vas cath is like a bigger version of that, and they can use that for hemodialysis. So did one of those this morning, and then we also intubated a patient because they were going into respiratory arrest. So respiratory arrest kind of sounds like cardiac arrest, right? So it's a similar concept, except it's when, you know, your breathing is kind of starting to give out, and you can tell when people are, you know, getting tired, or they're retaining carbon dioxide, which is what we, you know, breathe out. So, you know, when you have people that are getting altered, they look like their work of breathing is tiring out, they're holding on to CO2, that's an indication for intubation. So pretty eventful day overall, especially for me as an anesthesiology resident. ICU is very closely related. In fact, intensive care is one of the paths you can go into from anesthesiology. So this kind of makes sense, right? I enjoy this kind of stuff, but again, you have to remember that this is the worst day of many people's lives, right? Anytime they're in the ICU, that's a bad time for them. It's a bad time for their families. So as healthcare professionals, we get very kind of in the mindset that like, wow, this is exciting, this is fun. And it is fun in the sense that you get to practice what you've been trained, right? That's fine. You have to remember though, that these are bad days for many other people. And it's a privilege to get to take care of them, and it's a privilege to have the education and training too. But yeah, it's always important to remember, try to, you know, remind myself of that. But I'm also not going to downplay the excitement of getting to do things that I am actively training to do, right? So you just got to make sure that you acknowledge like both things. Anyway, I'm going to take a break from the training tonight. I'm not going to go for a run. I'm actually going to go meet a friend for some ramen because one, I've just been craving some ramen, and two, you know, training every day is not good for you. You got to take breaks, let the body heal. And, you know, I think that social health is as important as physical health. And, you know, what's the whole point of working hard and working all day if you're not going to treat yourself every now and then? And for me, ramen is a fantastic treat. I love ramen so much. So I'm gonna go get some ramen with a friend, take the night off of training, and yeah, let's go get some food. Yeah, I always go slow. They're in the car.
No, I'm
This is nice. Very natural. Nice. Great pour. I forgot to film the ramen, but there's the leftover. Good morning, guys. Happy Thursday. We're almost done with the week. We just got 2 more days. This afternoon, I have didactics, which is nice. So I'll be able to get some time out of the ICU to, you know, learn some things in more of a lecture setting. Let's have a good day. Probably do that. Very nice. Good job, guys.
You gotta wait for me to unwrap it.
Yeah.
I really like that a lot.
Another day out of the ICU, baby.
We did it.
Woohoo. All right, guys, I am at the park now. Had a good day in the ICU, and now it is time for an outdoor run. Planning to do about 6 miles, I believe, 6.2 miles. And then tomorrow I'll do a little rest day again. And then Saturday is my next long run, which is gonna be like 20 miles. I think it's actually my last long run before the marathon. I'm pretty motivated to do this run tonight because, you know, spending all day in the ICU, I'm surrounded by a lot of people that couldn't just come out here and go for a run if they wanted to, right? A lot of them are in very critical positions, you know, health-wise, and a lot of them probably wish that they could just leave the hospital and come to the park and go for a run. So it sounds kind of ridiculous to me to say, you know, like, oh, I don't want to go for a run because I don't feel like it, right? Like, there are people that literally can't, and I'm gonna choose not to because I don't feel like it. Like, kind of just seems like a waste of my capabilities and my current, like, you know, youth and good health. I don't know, maybe I'm just being overly philosophical about it, but anyway, let's get this run done so I can go home. All right, run is done. Did about 6.3 miles, so pretty nice after work run. See you guys tomorrow. Morning, guys. It's Friday, baby. We made it through the week. Actually, I still have to make it through today, but we're almost there. Let's have a good day. Oh, look who it is. So D-Boogie replaced me on nights. How's it going?
It's good. It's
Yeah.
good. It's either not busy at all or it's pretty busy.
Yeah.
Last night we watched 24 episodes of
What
anime.
the heck? So last night was not busy.
Last night was not busy.
But the
at
busy
all.
nights are pretty bad, huh?
Tonight will be busy.
Yeah.
Fridays we pretty much get capped out overnight. Last Friday we had some pretty bad floor call.
Yeah.
But it varies. It's fine. I mean, it's better than days because there's less administrative stuff and I don't know, just more medicine. You don't really have to like consult people, this and that. You just do the admission and get it over with.
Nice, dude. The vlog misses you.
I miss being on days.
Another recurring character is
Nope. Ready?
What is Naomi on?
Medicine.
How you like it?
Good.
the fear in your eyes. All right, guys, I am done for the day, which means I am officially done with my second week of my ICU elective rotation. Having the weekend off is such a nice change from the first time I did ICU where I was working 6 days a week. Now I'm doing 5 days a week, 12 hours, 12 and a half hours every day. I know it still seems like a lot of hours, and it definitely is compared to like normal working hours. Speaking of hours and work, yesterday we got paid and my paycheck was like $1,942, and I worked about 12 and a half times 5 hours, so about 62 and a half hours last week. So you guys can do the math, you know, of what that comes out to after taxes. But yeah, it's always interesting to compare the hours to the pay. Something I forgot to mention earlier is that today is the day that medical students around the country find out where they matched. That happened this morning. I watched the match ceremony for the medical school that I had attended, and it was really fun to see where everyone matched, and my Instagram page was just filled with, you know, pictures of people from across the country that I've gotten to connect with on Instagram, you know, matching. And so that was really fun. I'm so happy for everyone who matched, really proud of you all for making it through medical school, and now you really just get to enjoy the next few months before you start grinding it out in residency. It's a big day, and I still can't believe that a year ago that was me matching, and I just felt like, you know, nothing else mattered at that time. And now it's already been a year. I'm almost done with my first year of residency, and I almost feel like nothing's changed, but at the same time a lot has changed, right? Since then, I have become a working resident physician. I've started to build an income, build my future, and that's not really what I was doing back then. I was just grinding out through medical school. I couldn't really be future oriented. However, the moment that you match really is the beginning of the rest of your life, because yes, you're going to be stuck where you're training for the next few years, but you know, you at least get to start thinking about your future and building your life. And after you finish training, you can decide where you want to go and what you want to do with your training and your skill set and your knowledge. And I just feel like that's so empowering, especially compared to the last few years where you really don't get to have that reassurance and you don't know that it's all going to work out. Once you make it into residency, as long as you're willing to grind, which you are because you've already made it that far, like you'll be fine. You'll be fine. Like you get to just live the rest of your life and just start planning new things and setting new goals. It really was after match that I started thinking about other things that I wanted to do with my life that was gonna make me happy. And I talk a lot about that stuff on this channel, right? I'm constantly trying new things, you know, starting little hobbies and signing up for things. That way I can keep kind of seeking that gratification of accomplishing a new goal. For a lot of medical students, the prize is finishing medical school, but I strongly encourage you all to think bigger and think about like what else do you want to be accomplishing besides just finishing medical school and, you know, going to residency. Like that's obviously a priority and that's a great goal, but you got to do other stuff too, right? Like there's so much more to life than medical school and, you know, being a physician. And I think medical school is a really hard time to, you know, see that because obviously you really have to be locked in. But I feel like since I started residency, I've been so free to dream bigger and think of what else is going to be meaningful for me. In 2 weeks from tomorrow, I'm running my first marathon. And for the last several months, that was my big plan. You know, I ran my first Spartan trifecta in September, and then I ran my first half marathon in November, and then I ran another half marathon this past February, and now my full marathon's in 2 weeks. And as far as my, you know, goals go, that was a lot of my plans besides just doing well in residency. And now that I'm coming up on this full marathon, I've been starting to think about what else I want to accomplish and what's like the next goal that I want to set, because I've been so focused on like running, for example. But between that and seeing everyone match today, I'm starting to think a little bit more about this. And I don't know, I'm really kind of itching to find another goal to accomplish. And maybe it'll come when I move to San Diego. Maybe I'll think of something tomorrow. We never know. But the world is our oyster and we can accomplish anything we set our mind to. Anyway, that's about it for this week's vlog. Tonight I'm gonna go and celebrate one of my friends who matched into residency today. And then tomorrow I have my last long run before my full marathon. I'm gonna do a 20-mile run, which will be the furthest distance I've ever attempted to run. So wish me luck with that. It's gonna be a tough weekend. But as always, I appreciate you guys joining me for another week in residency. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.